Hello and welcome to South Asia Today, where we bring you in-depth insights into the key events shaping South Asia. I'm Shivangi Mishra, and here are today's top stories. Hamirpur celebrates the rebirth of the Chandraval River. Nepal's election campaign turns increasingly hybrid. And POJK governance failure leave children without proper schools. Let's begin the show. In the sun-scorched heat of Bundelkhand region of Uttar Pradesh, where cracked earth once told stories of despair, a quiet transformation now flows through Hamirpur and its surrounding villages. The revived Chandraval River glistens beside thriving fields, rewriting destinies. Under Mission Jalodaya, restored waterways, the lifeline of Yamuna River, have turned scarcity into abundance, a story of resilience, renewal, and rising hope.
Nestled in the Bundelkhand region, Hamirpur is known for its fertile plains and resilient farming communities. Blessed by rivers such as the Yamuna River and the Betwa River, the district is now witnessing the revival of the Chandraval River. The Chandraval River originates in Mahoba district and flows into Hamirpur district, where it runs for approximately 68 kilometers. After traversing this length, the river enters Banda district, where it ultimately merges with the Ken River. There was a time when water scarcity shaped life here. Uncertain rains and drying rivers made farming a constant struggle. Today, that story of Hamirpur has changed. Meet Guddi, a farmer whose life changed with the revival of the Chandraval River. Once worried about every drop of water, she and her husband can now farm with confidence, knowing their fields will flourish.
चंद्रावल अमना नदी के इधर हम रहते हैं। इधर हमारा मकान है। ये यमुना नदी के कैनाल पंप के इधर हमारा मकान है। उससे हम अपने खेती में गुजारा करते हैं, सब्जी बोते हैं, उसको बेचते हैं, उसी से हमारा घर चलता है, बच्चे पालते हैं। जो जानवर रखे हैं उससे दूध खाते हैं, बेचते हैं थोड़ा बहुत, उसी से अपना गुजारा करते हैं। उसी से पानी लगता है जमुना नदी से, चंद्रावल नदी से।
Under the Mission Jalodaya campaign, the district administration launched an ambitious river restoration drive. Natural water channels were cleaned, desilted, and deepened to restore their original flow. With the improved management of the Yamuna and Betwa River, groundwater levels have risen significantly. Farmers who once relied solely on monsoon rains now have access to dependable irrigation. This effort was not merely about cleaning rivers, it was about reviving ecosystems, strengthening agriculture, and securing a sustainable future for generations.
लोगों को हम लोग ने ये भी बताया कि किस तरह से एक जो नदी है उसका हमारे जीवन में योगदान रहता है, और इसका प्रभाव ये हुआ कि आज हम देख पा रहे हैं कि जो हमीरपुर के अंदर जो वाटर टेबल है, एक और तो वो बढ़ा ही है, साथ ही जो किसानों की आमदनी है वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है। आज हम देख पा रहे हैं कि जो कृषि का हमारा क्षेत्र था वो भी लगभग 200 से 300% इंक्रीज हुआ है, जो नेट सोन एरिया है। साथ ही प्रोडक्शन हम देखें, आज यहाँ पे हम लोग, हमारा जो किसान है वो कई ऐसी क्रॉप्स जो एक स्वप्न हुआ करता था, चाहे वो राइस हो या और भी वाटर इंटेंसिव क्रॉप्स हो, वो भी की जा रही है। तो ये इस चीज़ को दर्शाता है कि यदि हम जो भी हमारे पास प्रकृति के द्वारा दिए गए जो भी नदी और जो भी जल संसाधन है, यदि उनका उचित रूप से हम लोग प्रबंधन करें तो एक क्रांति हम लोग ला सकते हैं और इसका व्यापक पैमाने में एक सकारात्मक परिवर्तन हो सकता है।
A cornerstone of this revival is the Modaha Dam, which has become a lifeline for surrounding villages. Through an extensive canal network, water now reaches fields consistently, allowing farmers to grow 2 to 3 crops a year instead of just one. Agricultural productivity has surged, incomes have improved, and confidence has returned to rural communities.
देखिए, सिंचाई विभाग के द्वारा यहाँ इस ज़िले में काम कराया जाता है। इसमें 1000 किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा लंबी नहरें हैं जो विभाग की हैं, और मौधा डैम के नाम से एक हमारा डैम है, ब्रह्मानंद जलाशय है उसका। इस डैम के थ्रू हम लोग 350 किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा लंबी नहरों के थ्रू यहाँ के किसानों को पानी देते हैं। जैसा कि आप सब जानते हैं, बुंदेलखंड एरिया जो है वो वाटर स्कार्सिटी का एरिया है, पानी बरसात भी कम होती है, तो इस वजह से हम लोग के पास चैलेंजेस ज़्यादा हैं।
Alongside water reforms, renewable energy has added a new dimension to this transformation. A 750 kilowatt solar power plant now supports the irrigation system, reducing dependence on diesel and unreliable electricity. Solar powered pumps provide steady daytime water supply, lowering cultivation costs and promoting clean energy. Farmers are truly happy with the impact of the dam project and the solar plant, as both have strengthened irrigation, reduced expenses, and made farming more secure and profitable.
जो सोलर प्लांट का उत्पादन है तो 750 का किलोवाट का उत्पादन करा रहे हैं इसमें। इसका उद्देश्य था कि हम उत्तर प्रदेश पावर कॉर्पोरेशन को अपना बिजली बेचेंगे तो उनसे जो आय होगी तो एक दिन ये पूरी परियोजना किसानों को समर्पित हो जाएगी। तो इसका जो मेंटेनेंस रनिंग कॉस्ट होगा वो हम बराबर लगभग पड़ता है, इससे उसकी भरपाई हो जाएगी। तो इस परियोजना पे आगे चल के भविष्य में कोई भी अलग मेंटेनेंस करने की आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ेगी। इस उद्देश्य से इसका सोलर प्लांट का जनरेशन किया गया है।
Today, Hamirpur, Modoha, Mahoba and its surrounded villages stands as a powerful example of how thoughtful water management can transform lives. From revived rivers to strengthened irrigation and solar-powered support, every effort has restored confidence among farmers. Fields that once struggled now flourish with possibility. This journey is about resilience, sustainability and a community moving forward with renewed hope and lasting prosperity.
Nepal's election campaign is increasingly turning hybrid, blending traditional outreach with a strong digital push. In Kathmandu, printing presses that once buzzed with orders for flags and banners are seeing a slowdown this season. Political parties are now investing heavily in social media promotions, influencers, and targeted online ads. With new guidelines from the Election Commission, campaigning is shifting from the streets to screens, reshaping how voters are reached.
The weeks leading up to elections in Nepal have traditionally brought a rush of energy to the country's printing hubs. Press machines would rattle through the day and night, churning out party flags, banners, caps and badges in a blur of color and noise. The sharp scent of fresh ink would hang heavily in the air, a familiar sign that campaign season had arrived. The smell of printing inks has become thinner this year as the orders have slumped in comparison to that of the year 2022. Bijay Kumar Karki is one of those who has been running the business of screen printing, which during the election time are busy making the campaign materials.
40 वर्षको दौरानमै अब यो चुनावको कुरा गर्ने हो नि त पहिला त हामीले हातले लेख्थ्यौं, ठुलठुलो ब्यानरहरू चाहिँ हातले नै लेख्थ्यौं। त पछिको चरणमा आएर चाहिँ यो ब्यानर लेख्ने बाइन्ड भइसकेपछि अक्षर लेखन चाहिँ बाइन्ड भइसकेपछि यो झण्डाको क्रम चाहिँ स्क्रिन प्रिन्टबाट गर्दै आइरहेको छौं। झण्डाको व्यापार अहिले पहिलाको तुलनामा त एकदमै कम छ। पहिला योभन्दा अगाडिको 79 को चुनावमा चाहिँ अलि राम्रै झण्डाको व्यापार भएको थियो र त्यही सोचले सबैले अलिकति सामानहरू पनि स्टक बनाएर राखेका थियौं, तर सोचेको अनुसारले सामान चाहिँ गएको छैन अहिले।
Election campaigning in Nepal has rapidly shifted from traditional door-to-door outreach and printed materials to digital platforms, especially social media. Screen printers in Kathmandu's Bagh Bazaar say campaigns once focused on physical visibility, but candidates now prioritize online engagement. For the March 5 parliamentary elections, parties have significantly increased spending on paid promotions. This shift follows new election ethics introduced by the Election Commission Nepal, limiting physical campaign materials and promoting transparency through partnerships with Meta and TikTok. Candidates are also hiring social media managers and influencers with professional fees starting at around $500,000 Nepali rupees. Dr. Rishikesh Dehel, Assistant Professor at the Central Department of Journalism and Mass Communication at the Tribhuvan University, the oldest varsity of Nepal, points out two reasons behind the change in the dynamics of political campaigning.
It is turning to be digital in election campaigning by all political parties and the candidates. There are two reasons behind it. One is that Election Commission Nepal has prioritize digital campaigning rather than the pamphletings and other traditional media campaignings. And the other thing is that there is a big impact of social media and digital media products, and the consumption pattern is very high.
During this period, around 500 election-focused advertisements were placed on Meta platforms through more than 100 different accounts. The money paid for such advertisements goes directly to Meta. These ads are displayed across Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and Meta's audience network, which includes third-party apps and websites partnered with Meta.
सोशल मिडिया भने त एउटा जनचेतनाको माध्यम भयो र मेन जनचेतना भने नै के अरे मान्छेलाई चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ प्रचारको माध्यमै हो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई यो, किनभने देख्ने दृश्य चेतना हुन्छ नि एउटा, देखेपछि मान्छेले थाहा पाउने, त्यो चाहिँ सबभन्दा ठुलो चेतना हो जस्तो लाग्छ। किनभने यो चुनाव भने चाहिँ यो धेरैलाई बुझाएर र एउटा चाहिँ बौद्धिकता स्तरले चाहिँ यो दिने मतदान हो नि, त्यही भएर यो चाहिँ यहाँ बौद्धिकता पनि छ र अनपढहरूले पनि यो मतदान गर्ने भएको भएर यसलाई चाहिँ दृश्य कलाकारहरूको दृश्य जुन चित्र छ नि त्यसले नै बोल्छ।
When placing ads on Meta, political campaigns target users based on age, location, interest, and online behavior, enabling tailored messaging. These ads have received over 1 million views and feature party information, leader speeches, interviews with families of Gen Z martyrs, and direct appeals for votes. As elections near, aggressive social media campaigning has intensified, an area governed by the Election Commission's Code of Conduct. The Gen Z protest last September, which began on social media, also used platforms like Discord to coordinate and select Sushila Karki as interim leader. Observers say the growing influencer of digital content is increasingly shaping voter perceptions.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Homing pigeons in Iraq are at the heart of the country's bird sporting scene, where they are bred and trained for competitive races. Since 2023, the Najaf International Racing Point has been training birds from across the nation, raising and conditioning them to withstand hours of continuous flight in preparation for long-distance races stretching hundreds of kilometers. Owner Fares Fadel said the center trains thousands of pigeons in a desert loft, starting with quarantine checks and followed by flight training. Each bird wears an electronic identification ring, allowing pigeon owners and organizers to track performance accurately. Birds train for a full year before competing. At dawn, the cages opened in unison as the pigeons took to the sky over Basra's Al-Fa, soaring in a single direction toward Najaf, the final racing point. The competitions continue Iraq's enduring tradition of pigeon racing, a pastime rooted in history, when homing pigeons once served as a vital communication lifeline, used to deliver messages across cities. Thousands of Serbian farmers blocked main roads across the country this week, demanding stronger subsidies and protection from cheap imports, as rural incomes strain under rising input costs and weak commodity prices. The protests started almost 2 weeks ago and have spread across the country, with most road blockades expected to last several hours, disrupting traffic along 42 main roads. Farmers' demands include higher and more predictable subsidies, temporary restrictions, or tariffs on some agricultural imports, including cheaper foreign milk and pork, and faster payments under the system. On Tuesday, Agriculture Minister Dragan Glamakic said farmers had failed to come to talks to discuss measures aimed at improving the milk market. Some retailers had pledged to increase purchases of dairy products from farmers, he said. Protests of farmers coincide with ongoing nationwide anti-government protests that started in 2024, when 16 people died in the collapse of a canopy at a train station. Serbia is a candidate for membership in the European Union, and it has committed to harmonize agricultural policies with those of the bloc, including opening of its market to EU products. Hindu devotees in the northern town of Barsana, Uttar Pradesh, celebrated Laddu Holi on Tuesday, a traditional pre-Holi ritual honoring Hindu deity Krishna. Devotees threw traditional Indian sweets, known as ladus, and colored powder into the air and danced to music as part of the festivities. Music filled the streets as devotees danced and rejoiced in devotion. The main festival of Holi will be celebrated on March 4th this year, while the customary Holika Dahan bonfire is scheduled for the evening of March 3rd.
20 years after the 2005 earthquake, people in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir are still suffering. Schools remain in ruins and children are forced to study on streets and under the open sky. Parents watch helplessly as promises of reconstruction remain unfulfilled. This continued neglect reflects failed governance, where basic facilities like education and infrastructure are ignored, leaving entire communities trapped in hardship and uncertainty. We have a report.
In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, this unfinished structure stands as a symbol of governance failure. Work began years ago but was abruptly halted, with no effort to resume or complete it. Decades have passed, yet authorities have shown neither urgency nor accountability. Public infrastructure remains neglected, development promises ring hollow, and communities are left waiting. The government's inaction has turned basic services into distant dreams for the people of the region.
ये पिछले 20 साल से इसकी हालत यही है। मुझे 10 साल हो गए मुलाजमत करते हुए, और जब मैं प्राइमरी में था तब तो ये था ही नहीं। जब हम सेकेंडरी में थे तब इसका काम शुरू हुआ है, तो उसके बाद इसके पास उधर रुक गया है। ये पिछले 10 साल से इसकी यही हालत देख रहे हैं। तो ये जो इधर के हमारे नुमाइंदे हैं, उनका जो है ना हमारे गांव के कईया में ना रोड की कोई सहूलत है, ना स्कूल का इंतज़ाम है। बच्चे इसी तरह खुले आसमान के नीचे पढ़ रहे हैं। कोई किसी किस्म की हमारे पास सहूलियात नहीं है।
In POJK, young children are growing up without classrooms, without protection, without dignity. They study under the open sky in biting winters, through snowfall and icy winds, and even in extreme summer heat. There are no proper buildings, no safe learning spaces, no basic facilities, yet they show up every day, determined to learn, while those in power remain unmoved, leaving an entire generation to struggle for something as basic as a roof over their heads.
तकरीबन 122 बच्चे दाखिल हैं। इमारत ये आपके सामने है, एक ही कमरा है, वो भी मुकम्मल नहीं है। पाँचवीं की 6, चौथी के 17, तीसरी के 28 बच्चे हैं। उसके अलावा नर्सरी प्रेप के वो दाखिले के बगैर वो भी आते हैं। ज़लज़ले के बाद ऐसे ही है। ये देखो ना को बर्फ़ में क्या हाल होता है, कभी बाहर कभी किधर करके। बस क्लासों का कमरा एक ही कमरा है, ये सामने यहाँ पे।
In POJK, daily life itself has become a struggle. There is no reliable infrastructure, no functioning healthcare system, no quality education, and no meaningful development. Roads remain broken, schools lie in ruins, hospitals lack basic facilities, and employment opportunities are scarce. People are left to fend for themselves, while authorities fail to respond. Decades of neglect have pushed communities into hardship, with little hope of relief or accountability in sight.
Moving on, Jammu and Kashmir's Sonmarg, known for its breathtaking landscapes, recently hosted the 10th National Snowshoe Championship 2026. Athletes from across the country competed in this thrilling winter sport, showcasing endurance, agility, and skill amidst pristine snow. The event not only celebrated sportsmanship but also highlighted Sonmarg as a premier winter tourism destination. Let's take a look.
The 10th National Snowshoe Championship 2026 was recently held at the scenic Sonmarg in Gandarbal district, central Kashmir. Running from Feb 14 to 15, the championship brought athletes from across India, showcasing endurance and agility on pristine snow. The competition showcased an exciting display of skill and endurance, featuring around 180 athletes representing 15 to 20 states and union territories. Organized by the Jammu and Kashmir Snowshoe Association in collaboration with the Tourism Department and guided by the Snowshoe Federation of India, the event not only highlighted the thrill of this winter sport but also positioned Sonmarg as a growing hub for winter tourism and adventure activities.
15 से लेकर 20 स्टेट्स इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रही है और ये बहुत अच्छा इवेंट रहता है क्योंकि इससे टूरिज्म में भी बहुत हम बहुत बेनिफिट्स मिलता है जम्मू कश्मीर की इकोनॉमी को एंड साथ साथ में जो हमारा स्पोर्ट्स है विंटर स्पोर्ट जो है उसको भी एक तरीके से उसमें भी लोग आगे बढ़ रहे हैं एथलीट जो है नए नए आ रहे हैं और पार्टिसिपेट भी कर रहे हैं इन इवेंट्स में। ये तो बहुत सोनमर्ग जो है विंटर में जो है हर वक्त स्नोफॉल होती है तो इसका हमें इसका बेनिफिट उठाना चाहिए। ऐसे टूरिज्म इवेंट्स होने चाहिए। स्नो शो है अभी यहाँ पर स्कीइंग भी हो रही है ऊपर तो बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव ले रही है टूरिज्म एंड साथ साथ में जो हमारा फिट इंडिया है तो बहुत अच्छा है।
The event was designed to elevate Sonmarg's reputation as a premier winter sports destination, highlighting its stunning snow-covered landscapes and natural beauty. Athletes from across the country gathered here, competing in a thrilling display of endurance, skill, and agility. Beyond the competition, the championship served as a platform to promote winter tourism, encouraging visitors to experience Sonmarg's pristine environment and adventure opportunities.
बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है। मैं पहली बार आया हूँ यहाँ पे और यहाँ की जो इन्वायरमेंट है बहुत ही बढ़िया है। बहुत एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है यहाँ पे सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तो आई वुड बी एक्सपेक्टिंग कि ऐसे 2-3 इवेंट्स होने चाहिए हर साल ताकि हम आगे जाके अदर स्टेट्स में भी बता सके द इन्वायरमेंट इज़ वेरी गुड, वेरी प्रोटेक्टिव एंड द सपोर्ट फ्रॉम द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, लोकल पीपल, एवरीथिंग इज़ ग्रेट। इट्स ऑसम।
ये स्पोर्ट्स विंटर टूरिज्म के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा बूस्ट है बिकॉज अगर आप देखो तो बहुत दूर दूर से स्टेट से लोग आ रखे हैं। उनको एक नया एक्सपीरियंस मिलता है, नई जगह मिलती है, होटल्स यहाँ पे रहना, सैनिटेशन, सब कुछ इतना अच्छा है तो एक तरह से विंटर टूरिज्म को तो बहुत अच्छा बूस्ट मिल जाता है बिकॉज यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो हिल्स इतने अच्छे हैं, स्नो इतनी अच्छी है तो इसीलिए ये एक बहुत अच्छा बूस्ट है।
National level winter sports events play a vital role in positioning Sonmarg as a leading destination for winter adventures. By hosting athletes from across the country, these competitions highlight the region's stunning snow-clad landscapes and immense potential for snow-based sports. Beyond showcasing athletic skill and endurance, such events promote adventure tourism, encouraging visitors to explore Sonmarg's pristine environment. Organizers and authorities believe that regular national level championships can establish the region as a hub for winter sports, boosting local tourism, creating opportunities, and putting Sonmarg firmly on the adventure sports map.
तो हम ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हम इसको कश्मीर में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसका बढ़ावा करें इसका और बच्चों को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसके साथ हम शामिल करें। तो हमारी ये मैं यहाँ पे कहना चाहता हूँ कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से बहुत सपोर्ट मिल रहा है। खासकर हमें टूरिज़म डिपार्टमेंट और जो लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा सपोर्ट दे रही है और हम भी अपनी तरफ से बहुत ज़्यादा कोशिश कर रहे हैं और बच्चे आहिस्ता 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 जैसे लास्ट ईयर हमारे पास 80 टोटल थे, इस साल हमारे पास 170 लगभग डबल से भी ज़्यादा हैं। तो कोशिश यही है कि ये खेलों के साथ साथ ये एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स के साथ साथ हमारा टूरिज्म का भी बढ़ावा हो जाए इससे।
The successful hosting of the 10th National Snowshoe Championship 2026 in Sonmarg underscores the Jammu and Kashmir administration's dedication not only to promoting winter sports but also to overall development of the Union Territory. By investing in infrastructure, tourism and sporting events, the administration is transforming Sonmarg into a premier destination for adventure enthusiasts. Such initiatives showcase J&K's commitment to sustainable growth, create opportunities for local youth, and position the region as a hub for sports, tourism, and development.
As we wrap up today's episode of South Asia Today, we thank you for joining us. We'll return next week at the same time with more insights and updates. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of our entire team. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.